Hello there, welcome back to our Windward Invoice sample tutorial. My name is Adam, I'm a product manager at Windward, and I'm happy to be sharing with you today how to create or finish creating our Windward Invoice sample in the Windward Designer, an add-on in Word that allows you to leverage the extensive Word formatting functionality that we the world have come to know and love, and specify dynamic values to be populated into the template directly from our data. So let's continue where we left off. So far we have added the main parts of the body of the template. We have some to finish up, and we have connected to our data for all these tags that we're using. We have an input parameter that is specifying an order ID that this invoice sample is being output for. With that being said, where we're at compared to our desired output here is we need to have some costs output associated with the products being listed on the invoice. Now, if we look back at our invoice, I'm going to output to start off. Let's look at our output right now side by side with the template as we've created it so far. There we go, just like that. Get rid of this data in for now. So what we just did is we created this for each tag, and this for each tag is saying for each row of data returned by the query, do something. In this case, for each order detail row returned by the query, we want the do something part of this is we want to output the product name. We want to output the static word quantity followed by the quantity of that row of order details. And then since this for each is on the next, not really the next line, but it's on the next row of the table, what's happening in our output is that the for each is creating the product name, the quantity, static text followed by the dynamic value, and then it's creating a new row in the output table with those same values, the product name and the quantity. And you see that our for each is in its own row here, and that's what the final row is of the table in the output right here, is that row that the for each was in. Of course, the end for each tag. The end for each tag, of course, is not doing any output of its own in our template right now. Only our out tags are outputting values. So no out tag in this cell, no output in the output document. All right. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's go ahead and do some more templating. Like we've done in these before, we're going to have write justified content here. We can use an out tag, and we are going to want to do a sort of calculation, right? We need the price of tofu. Did we? Oh, we didn't say the price here. Okay, it's okay. But we're going to want to calculate the price of tofu, which I remember seeing. I thought maybe we output it, but really I remember seeing it. That in our query, that's not the tool I want. That's the tag editor. I want the wizard. In our query, we have currently the unit price of the product being output, but we also have the quantity. What we're going to want to do in this out tag is the product of those two values. We want to multiply the unit price by the quantity. So let's make this happen. Put in an out tag. I will justify it on the right side of the cell, like we have in our desired output. And I will open the tag editor, the tool that I've been accidentally opening this whole time. Now we do want the tag editor. Versus the wizard, the tag editor still gives you the ability to drag and drop values, but it gives you less granular querying abilities, right? In the wizard, we have the ability to filter our data. We have the ability to do a lot of wonderful things that otherwise you'd have to know how to write in your query language to do. We don't have that in this tool, but what we can do is we can do the product of these quantity and unit price. So what I'm going to do this product is actually use an equation. And like I said before, this tutorial isn't intended as an in-depth look or tutorial on any one tool. It's intended as an overall tutorial on how to create this template, so I won't go too in-depth on equations, but we will use one to achieve our desired output. Click on the equation button here in our tag editor. And we have a list of equations here. The one that we want to use is product. Here we go. There's product. Returns the multiplication of all numbers given as arguments. That sounds like what we want. I'm going to click OK. And per usual, as we have for easy Windward UI, we have drop downs here where we can just select values, or you could use a wizard to query this value. In our case, we actually have all the values we already need in our for each tag right here. The values that I'm going to multiply are the unit price. You see right now it's previewing the unit price that's associated with the first result being returned by the for each tag. And of course, that for each tag is filtering based off of the order ID that we have passed in this template as an input parameter. The second thing I'm going to be multiplying by is the quantity. All right, click OK. And this creates an equation in our tag and also sets the evaluate type of the tag to evaluate. If you are querying out of a database, you'd have the type of select, indicated here by this exclamation mark. The equality sign here we have before this query indicates that we're evaluating it. If we preview this, sure enough, we are getting the product of those values. There's two lines here because there's two records coming through the for each that will be outputting that value. Save output. All right, looking fairly good. See how we're doing compared to this template. Looks nice. Now, one thing we need to do is in our goal output, we have a $sign here, and we have formatting at the end of this this price amount because you usually format dollars as dollars dot cents. So we need to fix this formatting. One, we need the $sign. Two, we need to have that extra digit here at the end since there's 100 cents in a dollar. Okay. Now what we could do, and my gut reaction just says, well, let's just throw a $sign in front of this. That will act as static formatting, and if we output again, we'll see our $sign in the output. But this doesn't fix the issue of formatting the cents at the end of the dollar. For that, we can use actually some Windward functionality. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Let's get rid of this $sign. What I can do, I'll open up tag editor again. I'm going to give this tag a type, like we gave our date, our output tags that were outputting dates before, our out tags outputting dates before, a type of date. I'm going to give this out tag a type of number because we are outputting a number value. And I'm going to go into formatting here, and of all of the options we have to format, one of them is currency. If I select currency, this looks an awful lot like the formatting that we want to be doing in our output. There's a $sign. There are 2 zeros at the end of the $sign, and that should hopefully dynamically use our number that we are inputting to this tag and outputting it as this formatted currency. There's all sorts of types in here. Again, not going to get into the complexity of these tools and the full capabilities. Needless to say, there's a lot to do, but we'll apply this formatting we've selected, close, and see how this looks on output. Much better. So you see outputting even in the tag in the preview that we have a $sign here and the correct formatting of the output number. Let's output the entire template. Wonderful, exactly what we're looking for. Now we have some other problems to overcome right now with this section of this template. Let's take a look at our desired output. Down at the bottom, we're going to have the shipping. We're going to have the tax. We're just filling in 0 for the tax. Don't we all wish that there was 0 due in tax when you were ordering something? At least in this template, we can live out that dream. Okay, and then in the total, we're going to need to sum the totals of all of the individual product costs and output that at the bottom. Well, how will we accomplish this? Let us find out. Okay, so I'm going to add some rows at the bottom of this template. Looks like we have added rows down here. So I'm going to do shipping, tax, and total. And let's fill out this formatting real quick. These are all things we've done before. Do layout. Let's see, I need one for shipping, one for tax, and one for total. Shipping, tax, total, tax, not tags. And those are all bold. Okay. And the first problem we're going to take on in the rest of this video is getting this total number. Okay. We need to sum these individual values. Now there's a trick we can do for this. And the trick is to use another tag type called a set tag. And we will use that over the course of this template to sum these quantities. Now what is a set tag? A set tag is in a similar vein to our for each and query tags. The for each tag has a variable that when we look at a tag in its scope, look at the data tree, we can see that variable and we can use the data underneath it. Same thing with the query tags. The set tag is exactly the same and it sets a variable, but instead of like the query tag, which sets multiple columns returned to the query tag under the variable, and the for each tag does the same for multiple rows returned from the database, the set tag will set an individual value for an individual variable. Now, this set tag, what we're going to do is set it initially to $0, and then we're going to use it to keep a running total of the amount of this order. I'm going to call the variable running total var. And let's call it running total. Call it set running total. There we go. That's clear. That tells me what's going on. Okay. Now I'll open up the set tag. Initially, right now in our template, we're before the for each tag. Therefore, we haven't looked at any product. So initially, right now, the running total is 0. If for whatever reason we were outputting this invoice and there weren't any products, then the total cost is going to be 0. So I'm going to set it to 0. And then I can use some sneaky functionality we have here in Windward. One of those is the fact that if I open up this out tag, I can actually have the out tag a variable. And the output from the out tag, the value being stored in the out tag, is actually going to be put in that variable, and then I can use that variable as a template variable, just like I can use the set tag. You can see we put the set tag in, we can already see it here in our tag editor as a variable in the scope of this out tag. I'm going to call this product quantity var. It's the cost of the product times the quantity, and it's that variable. That's enough for me to understand it. I put these in lower camel case, so I'm going to fix that. So I'll save. Sure. Now what I'm going to do, and this is the tricky part of this, is I'm going to put another set tag after this out tag. I'm going to give it the same name as my existing set tag, running total var. So I'm going to call it running total var. And then what I'm going to do is inside of this set tag, I'll use an equation like I did before. This time I'm going to do a sum. Let's find sum. There we go, sum. And I'm going to sum the current value under the running total variable and the value coming out of the out tag that has the current cost we calculated for this product. Great. So you see already after this one sample iteration through the for each loop that we're previewing, we have the value 167.4 here instead of the value 0, because we're adding 167.4 to 0, which totals 167.4. Now for each loop through this for each tag, we're going to add the value of the cost that we calculated, the total cost, the cost of the product times the quantity of the product, to this running total var. And then once we've evaluated this multiple times, we will have added every value that runs through this out tag. Now all we have to do is output. So I'll put an out tag here at the bottom. I'm going to go into my data tree. I'm going to output the value of running total var. And I really hope that when I click output, I'll show you what I'm expecting to show you, which is that we'll get the total of the individual costs of each product and its quantities. And I don't have to be embarrassed today. Looks right so far. So let us finish up by formatting this and putting it the right side of the cell. And then we will call this video done. I'll highlight that tag there. For type, I'm going to call it a number again. I can access that formatting here as well, that formatting data. We go formatting data, currency, we'll do it as dollars, apply. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to highlight all these rows. I want all of these to be on the right side of the cell. Go like that. Was this bolded in our output? This was bolded, so I will bold the tag, which will bold the output from that tag. And let's see how we're looking. All right, looking pretty good. That is what I'm expecting to see. Except for the fact that, oh, I see. Okay, well, look at this. This value is different. It looks to me like the reason that value is different is because in this finished template, we're adding the value of shipping to the total cost, and currently we don't have any shipping here. But that will give us something to do in the next video. So thank you for sticking with us. See you in the next video.